Welcome to the Missouri Woods and Water Podcast. I'm your host, Nate Thomas. Got an awesome show today. Today we've got Joe Pendergrass with ALPSOutdoorZ on to talk about all things whitetail hunting. We talk about getting kids in the outdoors, his public land experience, some of his gear setups, which is really cool actually. Joe is old school, doesn't really care about the new gear out there, which I gotta respect because it can get expensive doing that. And, you know, one of the original saddle hunters was saddle hunting back in the 90s before it was too cool, or it was cool. So that's pretty awesome. So we get into kind of all that stuff and what Joe's kind of working with on Alps. Joe is a product developer, it sounds like, with Alps, which is pretty cool. So let's do some sponsors real quick before we get into the show. Oh, before I do sponsors, I want to talk about an event we're having. So this is coming out on Tuesday. What will that be? October 29th. So this Saturday and Sunday is going to be youth season in Missouri. And there's an event in our area. It's in Odessa, Missouri. It's called the annual, let me make sure I say this correctly because you can look it up on Facebook and get the information. So the Facebook title is Annual Youth Deer Hunt Contest. Look that up and find the information out. It's put on by some folks out here in Odessa, nice folks who just want to get kids in the outdoors. And what it is if you are a registered youth deer hunter, you can come and register for this contest. And if you kill a deer, you come and get the deer weighed, and you're entered to win first, second, or third in a boys and girls division. But as long as you are a registered hunter that comes to register for the event, you are registered to win any of the prizes that are given away on Sunday night after hunting is over. So Sunday night they have a big meal, and then they do a big giveaway. And every kid's name is put into a drawing. And what's cool is so far, every single year, every kid has walked away with a prize, as far as I remember. So we donate as much as we can to that. There's a lot of folks in the area that donate, and that's awesome. To be registered to win first, second, or third, you have to kill a deer in Lafayette or Johnson County, Missouri. But if you're a kid that's hunting in Jackson County, Saline, Ray County, anywhere near Odessa, you can still win a prize as long as you're a registered hunter. So just because you can't enter to win, just because you're not in one of those counties to win, that doesn't matter. You can still win prizes. And so these prizes are awesome. There's going to be raffles, blinds, trail cams, big gift cards, all kinds of cool stuff, tree stands. There's some really cool items that are donated every year. So I know we're donating blinds and guns and Onyx memberships and boots and all kinds of stuff. So anyway, wanted to say that it starts obviously during youth season. So go find it, Annual Youth Deer Hunt Contest, and come and sign up. All right, let's get into the sponsors now. First one we're going to start with, obviously, is ALPSOutdoorZ. ALPSOutdoorZ.com, Alps Brands, huge partners of ours, great people. Joe, Kyle, all those people there, great folks. Use our code 2024 WoodsWater for 30% off. They love giving discounts to folks, and they got all kinds of awesome stuff. So, make sure to check them out. Missouri-based company who does some awesome things. Zamberlan Boots, ZamberlanUSA.com, donated a pair of boots to the youth contest, along with ALPSOutdoorZ donating all kinds of stuff as well. So check out ZamberlanUSA.com. Reveal Cameras by Tacticam. I've got most of my cameras out. I pulled some. Need to put them back out this new spot. And it's super easy to do. I just suspended it, and then as soon as I take it out there, I'll redo it, and it'll be easy to do. So check out the Reveal cameras. Habitat Works. Give our buddy Dustin Williams a call at 816-752-7390. Mention us when you call him. Get 15% off any of his services. And he's a wealth of knowledge when it comes to land management and all that fun stuff. Black Ovis. Use our code MWW10 for 10% off on their website. Just got done with our huge $2,000 giveaway. Congrats to, I think his name's Brandon Colbert, for winning that giveaway. A lot of people mad at you, but hey, I'm proud of you. You got it. So, and then Black Ovis also donated to the to the youth deer hunt contest right after doing a huge giveaway. So make sure to go check them out. Great folks over there. And then their sister company, Camo Fire. Download the app today. Find all those awesome last second deals that you can get. On X, use our code MWW20 for 20% off. They donated not one, not two, but 15 elite memberships to our youth deer hunt contest. So there are going to be 15 people that get the $100 elite membership to OnX. That's like a $1,500 donation to this deer hunt contest. So thank you to OnX. They're awesome folks out there as well. Use our code if you don't win one of those, kids, or if your parents steal it from you and you want it too. You can get the discount code and get it a little cheaper. And then Athlon Optics, who donated 2 scopes and some orange and some shirts to the contest. Check them out, athlonoptics.com. They've got some awesome new products coming out, and we got some news at some point about some of their products as well that's going to be awesome. So check them out, athlonoptics.com. That's it, I think. Yep, I got them all. Oh, no, Huntworth. Use our code MWW15 for 15% off. Huntworth also donated to the deer hunt contest. Sent some mittens and hats and I don't know what those things are called, muffs, hand warmer, to the kids for the giveaway. So check out Huntworth gear, Vertec, Disruption, Tarnin, doesn't matter. They're all awesome patterns. But the Vertec is pretty damn cool, I will say. But everybody got different tastes, and that's what's cool about Huntworth. They have all kinds of options, and you can have a little bit of everything if you want it, to be honest with you. So, and now they got solid bottoms and some solid top options too. All right, that's everybody. Let's get into our show with Joe Pendergrass of Alps Outdoorz. This is the Missouri Woods and Water Podcast. Okay, with me today we've got Joe Pendergrass with Alps Outdoorz. Joe, what's up, man?
How you doing, buddy? Good to talk to you this morning.
I'm doing good. It's a Friday afternoon, and we're going to record this show, and then I think I'm going to take my 11-year-old hunting. We were just talking about that. So,
nice.
Any day you get to go hunting is a good day, right?
Yeah. Good to be out in the woods and enjoy God's creation.
For sure. So today's show is kind of going to be a smorgasbord of deer hunting information, but in general, Joe is, I guess what you call it, a big whitetail hunter. He loves whitetail hunting, and so this is a time of the year that a lot of people, I wouldn't say struggle, but you hear about the pre-rut. It's October 25th, the day we're recording this. You hear about the pre-rut. You hear about that October lull, which I don't know that I've ever believed in, but it's that time of the year where it's getting ready to pop off, and you're starting to see things. And so strategy is a big topic this time of year for folks. And so we're going to talk to Joe about that. And before we get into it, though, we're going to have Joe introduce himself, talk about who he is, where he's from, and what he does. And then we'll get into the show. Joe, go for it.
All right. My name is Joe Pendergrass. I've been with Alps Brands for a little over 3 years now. I think I'm coming up on 4. I am one of the product developers both on the mountaineering side, which is the camping side, and then also the outdoor side. So everything from hunting blinds to tents. Try to put my 2 cents in there. Have a background in the design industry for the past 25 years, a lot of that in the outdoor industry. Worked with camo companies, blind companies, turkey call companies. So it's been a great fit here. Alps has been a great company to work with. And a lot of exciting things just always popping up. Great team, and best of all, I get to play with all this gear all the time. They get to come up with ideas and get a rough sample made and test it for a little bit. Decide, that's not going to work, or we're heading the right direction, and make a few tweaks to it, or decide what's going to maybe it's right for this, but how can we make it right for this and that? So. A lot of developing things. Some projects take weeks, and it takes months, and it takes years.
Yeah. I'm jealous. You get to play with stuff all the time. It's I'm a gear junkie, so that would be a lot of fun. And speaking of gear, we were just talking about this before the show, but I'll give you a little bit of nugget. You might not know this, but Alps Outdoorz, was our first partner on this podcast. Very first one we ever landed or got, and we're still with them to this day, and we love working with Alps. And Alps is also a huge supporter of getting kids in the outdoors. And
Yes.
you know, a lot of brands say that, and I can understand that everybody is a supporter of getting kids in the outdoors, but Alps actually backs it up. We have helped sponsor a youth deer hunt in our area in Lafayette County, Johnson County, Missouri, for the last, I think this is the fourth one. And every single year we have been helping put this thing together. We don't really, it's not our contest. We're just, you know, sponsors, and we help get stuff for the kids. Alps has been the single biggest provider from our side of giving stuff to these for this giveaway for the contest. I mean, let's see, this year I think you guys sent 2 blinds, blind chairs. It felt like 100 little string backpacks, 5 different packs. I'm forgetting other things. Just all kinds of stuff. It's like 5 boxes that show up at my house that Kyle sends over to me, and you guys do it without question every year. And I think this is not the only one you're doing that for either. So,
No.
it's pretty awesome. It helps these kids at this contest. So this contest, the way it works, and it's pretty cool. If you are a registered hunter as a child, you come, you sign in at the event. And whether you kill a deer or not, you are registered to win something in the giveaway. And then Sunday night, after, you know, last shooting light, and everybody comes to check in at the end, they have a big dinner, and then they do a big giveaway. And every year so far, since it started, every registered kid that's been there has walked away with a prize.
Perfect.
Because there's been enough things donated that every kid wins something. So that's the goal, is to, as this thing grows, every year a kid wins something. So even if they don't kill a deer, they feel like, you know, they still are excited about the trail camera they won, or the tent they won, or whatever, you know, they win. So it's pretty cool, and Alps has been a huge supporter in that for us. So thanks for that.
Well, we appreciate the recognition, and we love seeing programs like that down here locally. We had one in my hometown, and it was youth. You know, it didn't matter if it was a buck or doe. You came in and had your deer weighed, and that's how they judged the winner, basically. And so there was a bunch of big old nanny does that ended up winning the big prize for weight. And but that was perfectly fine. It's just good to see these kids getting out there, being active in an outdoor lifestyle. Hopefully, you know, if they don't carry it on in the future, at least they have an appreciation for it and understanding that it's an important part of conservation, and that they can be an advocate in the future for this industry.
Yeah, and that's the same way how this one is. It's by weight. You come in, you weigh your deer, and then there's a boys division and a girls division, and there's a winner for both. I think it's first, second, and third for both divisions, and then so they obviously win something, but then you can still win prizes, and there's some big prizes. I know this year we're donating 3 rifles and they're totally set up rifles, so they're going to have scopes and everything on them. And so I bet there's going to be probably 10 firearms that will be not auctioned off, given away.
Oh, wow.
And then we have a local gun dealer here that's going to do all the transfer work for free and take care of all that. For, of course, obviously the parents have to do that, but kid can't, I guess, do that. But and they're all set up for children. So, like, you know, it's a 243, you know, short barrel, so something that a kid can use, all that sort of stuff. So it's an awesome event, and I'm looking forward to it this year. Looking forward to taking my sons hunting. Got a blind set up, a blind from Alps, by the way, that I set up for them. Funny enough, I'm not a huge fan of hunting in blinds, but ever since my sons have gotten into hunting, the more and more I find myself inside of a blind. So.
Yeah, they really help when they're getting fidgety. My 10-year-old, he does not sit still for nothing, and so sometimes he just needs to get up and do jumping jacks, and allow him to be in the blind. And the past 2 seasons, spring turkey seasons, I've had him and his little buddy down the road in the same blind, and you just sometimes you almost have to step out because they're just acting fools. But they can act it up in there, and as long as they keep it quiet, they can do their little giggling and twitching and stuff like that. And those
it's
kids
the shuffling of the feet,
yeah,
because it's interesting. This blind I'm talking about is not on the property that I'm taking my son hunting tonight, but the place I'm taking my son tonight, there are no tree stands. We have nothing at this place. We just started hunting it a couple weeks ago. We just got last second, permission out there. And so I hunt out of a saddle now when I'm doing my run and gun stuff. And I can't take the boys up in a tree with that. I mean, I thought about getting them a saddle, but then I thought, man, how am I going to, what am I going to hang all the sticks and put the saddles up for them and then come back down and have them climb? It just seems like it'd be a lot of work. And so I'm a guy who I don't mind hunting off the ground. I like to hunt off the ground. You can sometimes be in a spot that you would prefer to be. There might not be a tree there or whatever that you like. But with a kid on the ground, sitting still is not something they do very much, right? I mean, they're always fidgeting, their feet, their legs are always moving around. And but I'll say the 11-year-old that I'm taking tonight is the best out of all three of my kids about sitting still. So
that's good. 3
of my sons. I have 4 kids, but the daughter doesn't like hunting. So we'll see how he does tonight, because my plan is to take his crossbow with him. He's not strong enough to pull back a compound quite yet, so I've got a crossbow for him, and I'll let him be the shooter, or the hunter, I guess you'd call it. Although I'm going to have my bow with me just in case. But
just in case, yeah.
And I'm just going to find us a spot, hopefully in the brush, that we can kind of just tuck in. And then I've got, I don't know what it's really considered, but a little burlap type of netting that I can kind of put around him and near him so that it kind of breaks him up. But that's what we're going to do tonight. But it'd be nice to have a blind somewhere out there so that I didn't have to worry so much about it, But that's what we're doing tonight. And, if you're not, what's the word? You can't kill them from the couch.
Yeah, exactly. One of my favorite personal hunting stories was a hunt. Oh my gosh, it's been 15, 17 years ago when I took my oldest daughter out deer hunting. I believe it was a extended doe season in the Columbia area, and we were just right back behind the house on some adjoining property, and I knew right where to go. I wanted to make it a quick hunt. That way she didn't have to be out there too long. It was a cold day, but she was pretty good about sitting still. And we were sitting there for 15 minutes or so, and the 4 does came walking in exactly from the direction I knew they would be. And I had my gun up, and she was about maybe 8 feet away in the next cedar tree. We're both sitting on the ground, and I was just kind of waiting for them to kind of get clear of each other so I wouldn't take a shot and accidentally hit one of the others. And so I'm taking a little bit of time. I guess I took too much time because my daughter says, "Hey, Dad, you see those deer right there?" And they just perked up and all looked at me, and then they all looked at her, and then they threw their tails up and went running, 4 different directions. She turned to me. She's like, "Why didn't you shoot them?" I was like, "I guess I just didn't have time, babe." And she's like, "Oh, okay." And I still tease her about that, 15 years later, that, about her kind of foiling that hunt. I didn't, make her feel bad or anything like that. It's just right. We had a good time, and she now knows to keep her mouth shut when she sees something. But, kids make mistakes. It's okay.
Yeah, it's funny. I took my 6-year-old son, I guess he just turned 7, but my 7-year-old son hunting for his very first time. What was it? A week and a half ago now? And I didn't know for sure that I wanted to do this, but I took him up in a 2-man stand and got him up there, got him strapped in, and I kind of tried to tell him, "Hey, anything you want to tell Daddy, you just tap me. And then I'll look at you, and you can either point or whatever." He goes, "Okay." So first time he goes to say something to me, he goes, "Daddy, He tapped me, but he also said "daddy" like out loud. And
Yeah.
I'm like, hey, don't leave out the daddy part. Just tap. Okay. So he got that right. He figured that out. And then later on in the evening, he actually got to see deer. He saw 2 does and a spike, and the does came in, and I tried to teach him, like, whenever you move, you need to move slowly. So, like, if you need
Right.
to want to look at him, I want you to kind of slowly look or whatever. And he sees those deer, and he's so excited that his little feet are just, swinging because his feet aren't touching the bottom of the platform, and his just feet are just swinging. I'm like, Bennett, you gotta stop moving your feet, bud. They can see that. They can see that. And then he'd go, look, and he really quickly, showing me what they're doing, and I'm like, bud, they can see all of that. And he just didn't quite understand moving slowly. But I will say they never busted away. They never stuck their tails up and took off. They never, they knew something was up, but they were younger does, and the spike was stupid too. So it wasn't like they were 6-year-old buck walking through there that would have pegged us really quickly. But I told my brother-in-law after we left, I'm not so sure being up in that tree, kind of in the open. That tree doesn't have any leaves on it anymore, so you're kind of up in the sky. I'm like, I probably should have done something different with him, but he was excited. He got to see deer, and that's kind of all that matters, is that they have fun in the woods. So, but yeah, so I mean, it's that time of year where we're getting kids out. Youth season is going to be, what is it, next weekend?
It is next weekend.
Jeez. So that's coming up. Obviously, the single hunter in us is still wanting to get out and do things as well. Like I said, I was going to go by myself tonight, and then I found out the kids didn't have school, so might as well take one of the boys, right? So this time of year is that pre-rut. We're gearing up for things to really go crazy. How do you handle the way and it's difficult because I'm guessing you probably are not just the only person you're getting out in the woods, but if you're going out by yourself, what are some of the things that you're going to think about right off the bat? How are you handling what you're looking to do right now?
Oh, well, see, anymore down here in South Central Missouri, I hunt a lot of public ground. And so that's a little bit different. I mean, I'm sure a lot of your listeners are in the same boat.
Yep.
And so you have a spot that's been awesome for weeks, months, even years, and things can change. A new house is put in just a few hundred yards over the fence line, or someone decides to put cattle in a field somewhere. People decide, oh, I want to hunt out here too. There's a conservation area where I hunt 1,400 acres, and for years, there was maybe 5 or 7 guys that would hunt this conservation area. And I mean, even during rifle season, maybe 7 to 10 cars. And then COVID happened, and it got a lot of people outside. And so that's great. There's more people hunting, but it really put a lot of pressure on conservation property. Right. And I believe last year I counted 27 or 28 vehicles opening morning. And, some of those vehicles had 2 or even 3 people in them. And I was like, I'm going to go on down the road to the next conservation area. So being really fluid is something that I just had to accept a long time ago when I was hunting public ground. I don't get, upset. I have gotten upset. You get all the way out there. It's like, where did you come from, dude? Like sitting literally right under a tree stand that I'd put up. He didn't happen to look up, but okay, well, have a good hunt. Slip out, try to go hit some other place. But luckily, there's enough conservation areas around here that you can be at another one in 20 minutes. So it's not the end of the world. And it just for me, it's about I'm a freezer filler. I'm not ashamed to shoot a big buck, but my goal is just getting out there and having a good time. And down here in South Missouri. Now, when I go up north to, like, say, Unit 2 or over near Osborne or something like that, then I get a little more serious about strategies and planning out different routes, because there's the big farms that we hunt up there. You have it all to yourself. The deer aren't changing things up too much. So, but I'd say 90% of my hunting is pretty fluid down here.
Yeah. So do you go and hang stands? Obviously, you have before. You just kind of talked about it. So you do go and hang some stands, but what I mean is your strategy usually just if I'm not going to go, I go to the stand. Some dude is 5 feet away from the tree that I had the stand in, so I'm gonna let him have the area. Obviously, for the evening, he was here first. Do you then just transition into? Do you hunt a lot of ground sitting yourself?
Yeah.
Or
Yeah.
what do you do?
Yeah. So I'll have the stands in my ideal locations. Sometimes I'll leave them there, sometimes not. Sometimes I don't want to tick people off that it is a good area. Try to keep that little secret to myself. But sometimes I'll leave like maybe a climbing stick or two up there, and sometimes I'll use a saddle depending on if I think that I might want to not leave a stand up but be able to have quick access to it. I've stopped dragging ladder stands out there a long time ago. Yep. People love to steal those suckers. That's the hardest one to steal, I would think. You got to make 2 trips to get one out. Yeah, but and then a lot of times I'll hunt off the ground. I mean, I bet 70% of the deer I've killed right off the ground, just sitting underneath the tree, on a stump, on a log. When the rut's happening, I mean, deer are moving so much that, you can have some great areas, but I've killed a lot of deer in the rut that deer shouldn't have been there. I've never seen a deer in that spot before. I've never even seen a track in that spot before. And all of a sudden there's deer coming through. It's just between pressure of hunters and deer, the bucks chasing does. It's kind of a free for all in the conservation areas, honestly.
Yeah. Well, and me and Micah both started hunting out of a saddle. Not exclusively. We also have like some pre-hung sleds, but the property I was just talking about, taking the 6-year-old on, and then another one that we got permission on last year. Neither of them have any tree stands on them, so we were just learning the property throughout the year and just going with our saddles or on the ground. And what I started doing was my pack that I've got my sticks, in there, and then I just started taking a little Alps Outdoorz tri-leg stool. That is my favorite thing you guys make. I mean, you guys make a lot of awesome stuff, but that freaking tri-leg stool is perfect for a guy like me. And so that tri-leg stool, I will stick it right on the bottom of my sticks, and I'll strap it into my pack. And then if I get to an area I like and I can't find a tree, then I drop my saddle stuff and I sit. I don't like sitting on the ground. I like to be just a little bit up, like just enough to where I can grab my bow and shoot. And that tri-leg stool is just short enough that, I don't feel like I'm up, away from stuff, and I can still tuck next to a tree or get into some brush. And I take that stool with me every time I go out, because if I can't find a tree, I have no problem just sitting down. And all you gotta do is take your pack off. Stools. Yeah, and I've got 2 of them, one for me, one for the boy. So we'll both have one of those stools going out tonight, and I won't even take my saddle stuff because I know that we're not going to get in a tree. So, but typically it's so lightweight that it doesn't hurt having that, right? So if I do find a tree that I like, then I just sit the stool at the base of the tree and I climb. And the stool is sitting there for the night. And if I don't find a tree, I use the stool, and all my saddle stuff sits, somewhere. To me, it's not a big deal that you take that extra item. Some people probably wouldn't like it, but it weighs nothing. So to me, that's my big secret is I like to use a little bit of elevation to sit on the ground with.
It does help.
Just because then you can sit your bow, on the ground. And you can kind of have it ready just to pick up and shoot if you're sitting. Or if you have to stand up to make a shot, you're already kind of halfway there, if that makes sense. And
Right.
so when the deer
Yeah.
looks away, it can just be like a quick rise, like a quick, hey, I'm up. Um, so
Yeah.
that would be like my, I guess, little 2 cents is get a tri-leg stool from Alps, and you will not be disappointed. They're not expensive. I think they're what, like $20, $30,
Yeah. That's about right. Yeah.
and then you use
If
our
I'm going
discount
to
code,
take out the
and it's even
exactly,
cheaper.
yeah, yeah. If I'm gonna take out, say, the crossbow with the kid, I might sit actually on the ground because sometimes those are a little bit heavy to have to try to prop up for a kid.
Yep,
Um, and so we'll use some of our little sit pads that we have here at
yep,
Alps uh, with the compound. Yeah, going to do the tri-leg stool, one for me, one for the kid. Um, Probably most of the time, and then definitely if I'm taking my longbow out, then I definitely want to use the tri-leg stool or even our other. It's called the Solace, and it's a four-legged seat. It's got a little bit of a rise on the back to give you a little bit of tailbone
support. Yeah,
support, and you can sit in. It's not as easy to set up as the three leg stool. It probably takes 20 seconds to set it up, but you can sit in it for hours, especially if you got a tree to kind of lean back up against.
yep,
And then that way, because for a longbow, I've got to take at least a partially standing shot, if not a standing shot, to my limbs to clear.
yeah, yeah. And that, I mean, obviously, you got to think about all that. What am I hunting with? Like for me, what I'll do with my son tonight is we'll both sit in the tri-leg stool. I'll have my compound sitting on, you know, the stand. I don't know what it's called. Now, if we're sitting next to a tree, what I'll probably do is take my strap that I use when I'm saddle hunting, and I'll just put it on the tree, and then I'll hang my bow right there on the tree. And then I've got a little, I don't even know what brand it is anymore. It's a little single stick shooting stick. I think it's a Vanguard. Now that I think of it, it's got 3 little feet at the bottom, and it's just got a little like saddle that you place it in. And I'll sit that in front of my son. We'll set it up to where he can, shoot correctly, and then that's what he'll shoot out of is that little shooting stick. Just because, like you said, he's 11. He's a strong little dude, but compound or crossbows are heavy, and so taking a shot
Yeah.
where you're just holding it isn't super, I guess, smart in my opinion for a kid that I would be able to do it, but I don't think he's probably strong enough to hold that steady. So that shooting stick just gives him that extra, and it's lightweight. And so once again, I know that I'm not hunting with a saddle tonight, so I don't have to worry about all that extra stuff. I'll carry that little shooting stick with us, and plus I got an extra person with me. He can carry some stuff. He'll be fine, and
Yeah, yeah,
we can go from there. So because I'll be carrying the crossbow and my compound, so he's gonna have to carry something.
yeah. You always got to make them pack a little bit of weight, makes them appreciate a little bit more.
For sure. Yeah. So
Don't
okay,
let
so
them carry the snacks though.
yeah, for sure. What do you? So when you go to a, especially public land, what are you looking for this time of year? Do you just go to where you think there's going to be movement, some travel, or are you looking for specifics, things that are telling you this is where I want to be?
Terrain features probably being the biggest thing. Um, you got a big enough track, you can find those terrain features. Secondly, though, I look for the weirdness of the property. A lot of these conservation areas were bought up. They're like 3 or 4 farms that were together at one time,
Mm-hmm.
and so there's a lot of little spurs and kickouts. And I look for those little kickouts that don't necessarily have trails to them, or there's 1,400 acres on this side of the road, and there's 30 acres on this side of the road, and I want to hunt that 30 acres a lot of time. I'll find something that's just because the parts of the parcel that people don't even think about. I've had a lot of luck of hunting right behind the gun ranges. There's the safety buffers around them, which you wouldn't want to be safe, but people think, oh my gosh, you're not going to kill any deer or turkey behind that gun range. Heck yeah, you are, because they're used to people, they're used to sounds, they're used to cars, and I've killed a lot of deer and turkey within eyesight of the gun ranges on conservation property.
That makes sense, right? And you kind of, I feel like you're probably always just ready to make a change, right? The hunting public, right? Like they became very effective hunting public land, and they would get deep, 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 and then other people started going deep, 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 right? And then what did the deer start doing? Well, the deer started being like 30 yards off the road again, and then so you just have to make adjustments because the deer are not going to stay where you are. So if everybody's going deep, then the deer aren't going to, and now the deer are closer, and then everybody's going to make the adjustment. And I feel like sounds like you're just ready to make the adjustment if you need to.
Yeah, just got to stick and move, and always be prepared to go with Plan B.
Yeah. How do you feel about sign on public ground? Like if you're hunting an area, you get into an area, let's say maybe it's a couple hundred yards from where you thought you wanted to be, but then you started seeing maybe a scrape line, rubs I don't pay a lot of attention to this time of year, but a bunch of rubs and a scrape line. Will you take that information and change what you're going to do on a public setting, or because it's public ground, how much do you put into sign? What do you how do you determine what you're going to do there?
I take it into consideration, but I don't put a lot of stock into it because I don't know what the other 27 hunters have done in the 2 days since that, scrape's been made. Is that deer even alive? Maybe he made that scrape 2 days ago, but he was killed yesterday. And so with the public ground, hopefully he's still in there, or at least, where the deer are traveling. So if you can find where the deer are traveling, those are traveling those paths. If there's a buck in the area, he's going to be traveling that path sooner or later. Right. But to think you're going to kill the buck that just rubbed this 8-inch cedar, it's probably not going to happen. But if it does, great. Because the sign, I've even actually seen people make sign. They're out there mock rubbing and mock scraping. So
I do it.
Was it a deer, or was it somebody that is pretty good at making mock scrapes?
Yeah, we put mock scrapes out. Now ours have ropes attached to them, so you can tell a human did that. But like who knows? It could have just been a guy that was walking through, saw a low hanging branch that might have maybe had an old scrape in it, and he freshened it up and peed in it. Right? I mean, you have no idea. It's a possibility. So that's what I was curious on. I don't. It's been a couple of years since I've hunted public ground, and I kind of fought with myself because I was walking in and I found some sign, but it's not where I wanted to be at. So I ignored it, I guess you'd call it, and I kept going to where I wanted to be. And then when I got there, I thought, was that stupid? I found 2 scrapes back there, but those could have been made, like you just said, 2 days ago, right after the rain. They could have been made by 2 hunters. I mean, who knows? And so I'm hunting scrapes that aren't even actually legitimate, or that deer got killed, and he's not making those anymore. So, yeah, I don't know. It'd be hard to walk through them and not wonder, should I stay here? But I'm guessing in public ground you see a lot of sign, just because there's deer there. I mean, that's why people hunt them, and so it'd be difficult to kind of make those decisions. So your kind of idea, your thought is, pay attention to the sign, but I'm still going to go to where I think is the right spot based on me being there before or looking at the maps. I guess sometimes exactly. You haven't been to a spot, but how much do you put into your maps? Like, will you pick a spot on the map and then say, this is where I'm going? Or do you wait? Do you give yourself a few options and then wait until you actually see it in person?
I may overstudy on Onyx and HuntWise and all the others. I will get to looking at them like, I'm going to check something real quick. And next thing you know, I've been on it for 45 minutes. And so I'm always pinning things of different terrain features that could be holding deer. putting the wind indicators on there. So I have those in mind if I ever need to jump positions.
Mm-hmm.
So, but until you actually put boots on the ground and see what's going on, sometimes that aerial imagery doesn't really reflect what's going on. Maybe there's been some hack and squirt in the area, so the vegetation's different than what it shows on the map. Could be worse, could be better, or maybe there's just not a really good way to get to that area without disturbing, some other feature. So, yeah, you got to put boots on the ground, no matter how good that map looks.
Yep. And I'll use that 3D feature on Onyx, which turns the map into a 3D, and then you can really exaggerate it, which I love doing. But then you have to remember, it's not an actual mountain. It's just exaggerated. It's just showing me that we have a slope right here, but it's not 1,300 feet. It's just a small difference. But it does, what I like about it is it tells you, this is definitely the high spot. This is definitely a low spot. This is definitely a ridge, whatever else. Because the 3D feature on Onyx, you can tell this is a ridge based on the contours. But how big of a ridge is it? That's why I like to turn on that 3D feature and then really, I think it's called, not exaggerate. What is that called? Enhance, maybe?
I think it's exaggerate. Exaggerate or enhance.
And then I can say, okay, yeah, this is definitely higher than this other area. Sometimes it's not much. So, but yeah, I'll do that all the time. But I always find myself getting there and going, okay, that is not what I thought I'd see. Based on what I saw on the map, it's just like, that's a little different. So I usually try to, I think like you were saying, I'll pick a few spots. That way when I get there, I'm not pissed off that I picked this spot and it's not what I thought it was. If that makes any sense.
Right. Exactly. Yep. Sometimes even finding those little bitty, using that exaggeration button and finding those little bitty depressions, it may only be 18 inches lower than the rest of the surrounding property. Maybe it was the start of a sinkhole or something like that. And but if you can sometimes get, especially for turkey season, you can get down lower and lower your profile to make yourself less of a target for those turkeys that are looking out trying to find their hen. Those little bitty depressions that you're not going to see if you don't use that exaggeration feature really come in handy.
Yep, for sure. Well, and I found a little spot last night. I hunted last night. Was it last night? No, 2 nights ago. And found a spot. I wanted to try to get into a spot where I was going to have to walk through some thicker stuff. So I picked a low area so that I wasn't obvious. And as soon as I get into that low area, I look down and there's a scrape. And it's a fresh scrape because there's leaves falling all over the place, and it was a nice bare spot, and it was just a little vine that it came down that they have been messing with. And then I found a dead doe 10 yards away from that she's been dead for a few months.
Oh.
So I thought, okay, deer obviously come through this area, and here I am walking right through it. So that's not great. But I'm not going here. I'm going 250 yards that way, so that's fine. But I kind of, put that in the back of my mind that next time I probably want to walk outside of this so that I'm not putting my scent right where they might congregate. And then it makes you think, why are they there? What are they doing in this low spot to hang out, hit a scrape? Why do they like it? And so then it makes you think about, well, it's just off a bedding area. Maybe this is a staging spot for them. Maybe it's it's just low enough that they feel safe right here. What about it makes them like this spot? Obviously, that doe that was dead, she was there for a reason. I don't know what happened to her.
Right.
But, so yeah, it makes you, I don't know, I overthink a lot of things is my issue. But
it's easy to do.
Yeah. So, saddle hunting wise, that's been, I think, one of the big craves of the hunting industry in the last 5 years probably is saddle hunting. And I'll be honest with you, I made fun of it at first, oh, you guys are swinging in a diaper. Cool. This is hilarious. And then I tried it for the first time and I had to eat all my words because I totally get it now. and I do it. So much lighter weight, easier to get up in a tree, easier to hang, just a lot of those things.
Oh yeah.
Uh, what do you have like? Or do you have a trophy line set up? What is your setup? And then how do you?
So I will let me back way up here. So I started hunting with a saddle oh mid '90s. There
You're one of the
was
OGs.
OG. I still have my original tree saddle in, I guess it's like tree bark camo, the big O gigantic, like 1 inch nylon webbing. It was not light. I mean, it's probably 8 pounds, but compared to tree stands back in the '90s that weighed 30,
Right.
it was light. And I used that for several years, to the point where the webbing was getting a little shot. I'd put on 50, 75 pounds. And so I was like, I haven't used that one in a long time. So that one's just been kind of like stuck in a closet. I don't know why I even still have it. I mean, it's not usable. I don't know if it's.
Well, I mean, it's not like you can sell it, so might as well hold on to it.
but
Right.
but then I didn't. Saddle hunting hadn't really caught on. That was kind of just like a little, you know, passing phase. I don't. You never even really heard about it. You never saw too many articles about it. And I always kind of wanted to get back to it, but then there was nobody doing it. And then all of the tethered and latitude, all that stuff started coming out. And I was like really excited to see that. But man, I am cheap. And I was like, you know what?
It's not cheap.
I make gear for a living. And so I got to thinking about it. And I was like, wow, like there's no reason those things should honestly cost as much as they do. And I got to thinking, like, you know what? It's basically just alignment, like a rappelling harness.
Yep.
And so I went out and got myself a rappelling harness for like $45. And like, if thousands of people can trust their life to this $45 rappelling harness, I'll give it a shot. So that's what I've been using. You know what? It's like red and gold, and deer don't care.
No.
You know, when you're 15 feet up in the air, they're not looking for those different little colors. They've got different color blindness that stuff's blending in anyway. So
Yeah.
that's what I use. You know, is it maybe not as comfortable as some of the nice ones out there? Probably not, but it works. And as I think about different ways to maybe improve them, you know, my mind's always thinking, and I don't see Alps ever getting into the saddle hunting market as far as the actual saddles. So I don't think we'll be making one here, but I may have one kind of up my sleeve for my own personal use.
Nice. Yeah. Yeah, that's funny. I mean, because you're gonna love this, but I've got a lineman's belt or harness because of my damn roof. My damn roof is a metal roof that's really steep, and so whenever I want to work on it, I have to tie off because I can't just walk it. And I went and bought a lineman's belt, and I went to a rope, or not, a rock climbing place, and bought, I think it's called a gree, which is just this little deal that you can tighten it, but it doesn't loosen up, so you can just kind of keep moving without really being, using your hands. And when I first got into saddle hunting, I thought about using all that stuff because I'm like, isn't this basically the same thing? But I didn't. I bought stuff, and then I'll tell you what. The one thing that I'm glad that I spent the money on was, what are you using for sticks? I'm assuming you use climbing sticks.
Yeah. So I still have some old, I don't know, 3 or 4 step, probably 3 feet long gorilla steps, I think. Yep. Haven't used them for years. I would occasionally use some of the strap on or screw in type stuff if I was on private ground. But I'm running, I guess they're Hawk Helium.
Yep.
Maybe.
Yeah, I had those. Yeah, I had the Hawk Heliums for a while. Do you have are you still using the straps for them, or did you do like a daisy chain mod, anything like that?
I still have the straps on them, but I bought the stuff to make the modification. I just haven't done it because, I'm not trying to shave grams off of my weight. It's like,
Right.
I'm a full grown man. I can carry, 10, 15 pounds of gear to the woods. I don't have to shave off an ounce here and 10 grams there, and just pack it and carry it, dude.
Yeah. See, I'm the exact opposite. I hate carrying crap. And I had Hawk Heliums. So my first run and gun setup was Hawk Heliums and an XOP hang-on stand that had, I don't know, it was like the backpack system for it. So I would carry the stand, and then I would put my sticks on the stand seat and then my pack. And it was just heavy, and it annoyed the hell out of me. And I would find myself like getting to the woods and then just going hunting and sitting on the ground because I didn't want to carry all that crap. And then I would get to a tree and I wouldn't find the right tree I liked, and then I'd get set up and I wouldn't like how I was set, and it would just piss me off that I carried all this crap in here and I'm not even happy with my setup, right? So I was when I got into the saddle stuff, that was the first thing that sold me on it, was the weight. And these companies, man, they are fighting each other tooth and nail for the lightest stuff, and I could not be happier. Trophy Line just came out with a set of sticks called the Hyperlight sticks, and I think Latitude also has something called the Carbon One. I think that's what it's called. Those sticks, you can hold them with your finger, like they're so lightweight. And I love it. I love that they're fighting each other for it, because I have the Hyperlights from Trophy Line, and what I love about them is they're still metal sticks, but they don't weigh. I think they weigh 17 ounces a piece. They weigh nothing. Then I have daisy chains for them so that they don't weigh anything, and you just strap them on the tree and boom, you're up. And I have thoroughly enjoyed the fight to get the lightest with these saddle companies, because it makes a guy like me happier, because I'm a minimalist. I don't like having a bunch of stuff with me, a lot of crap in my pack. I just want to go hunting. And that's why I used to be more of a ground hunter than anything, because all I had to do was take myself and my bow, and I'd be good, right? And at times I still like that, but do you find yourself, and I'm guessing you do this too, when you're on the ground, do you ever find yourself thinking, man, it'd be nice to be about 10 feet up right now?
Oh, yeah. And if I find myself sitting in a spot, a couple nights, and there's a possibility I'm going to get some longer sits out there, then I'll consider, let's make this more of a permanent spot. Let's get some sticks in the tree, or get a hang on perched up there.
Nice. Well, let's transition into packs, because I'm especially from one of the product guys with Alps. This is intriguing to me, because I might have used every single pack you guys have made at this point. There's like things you love about everything, right? And so, what is your favorite whitetail pack? And maybe you can't answer this question. I have no idea. But what is your favorite Alps whitetail pack that you guys produce? For me, it was, oh man, I'm going to forget the name of it as we're talking. Well, keep going. Maybe I can. I think it's called the Falcon, actually. Now that I'm thinking of it, I should have had this prepared.
That's okay. Yeah. It's like I honestly am not super familiar with that pack. I might be wrong. One that we do have a Falcon. It's got a lot of good reviews. It's just not something that I use real often, or actually ever have I ever used it. I am super minimalistic. A lot of times I'll carry just the stuff in my pockets. Honestly, I don't take a lot of gear with me.
Yeah.
What I have used more than anything is our ambush sling. It was designed for turkey hunting, but I'll take the box call pouch off of it, and that's got my water and maybe a snack, a couple calls if I'm calling that time of year, and it has everything I need in it. right there. If I
Oh, I see it. Yeah, this one.
yeah, but now we've got the new product out. It's called the Adapt, and it's actually designed to be a bino harness for large sets of binos. It's in our dead quiet material, but it's still got a lot of the similar features of the ambush, and I'll probably be transitioning into that this year. It's brown instead of green. It's got the dead quiet material on it. A little bit more room, and I think it's going to be a good choice for me. That dead quiet material, it's great. It's
Yeah.
The impulse pack is also made out of that, and that's probably the one. If I'm taking a lot of stuff with me, where I'm going to be an all day set, so I'm maybe taking some layers with me. I might have, or if I have the kid with me, the impulse is what I would normally take in the woods.
Yeah. No, and I was wrong also. The pack that I use the most, I think it's called the Pursuit. And I'm pretty sure the Pursuit is the one that has that shelf. The outside pocket is kind of a hard, soft material that is a double negative. I understand that, but the it's got like straps, and it'll just sit down, and it's like this little shelf, so that you can like sit stuff on it, and when you're in a tree. I'm pretty sure that's the Pursuit. Could be wrong. Like I said, I'd have to go in my stuff and look.
Is it kind of squarish?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it's the Pursuit, but like I said, I could be wrong. I'm looking at it. That
sounds like the Impulse.
It could be the Impulse. Let me look at the one because mine's not brown. I don't think it is. I'll have to go look at it when we're done recording which one it is now, because I've had a few of them. I've had the Falcon. I've had. Is it the Crossfire? See, now I'm just making myself wonder on all of them. So we should probably just move on, because I could look through all of them and remember which one it is.
Yeah, there's so many options. I mean, I've been here, coming up on 4 years, I think, and I still have to which pack is that? Which one are we talking about? I have to refamiliarize myself with them, because I have to know all the outdoors side stuff, and then also the mountaineering side, which we have just as many SKUs on that side.
Yep, just as many packs, and for different reasons. I was one of those guys that, we also go out west, and so, whitetail pack here in Missouri isn't going to work for elk out in Colorado or New Mexico, because you're not going to pack meat with it. And you guys came out with the Elite series. What was it, last year? Pretty sure the Elite series packs. And then this year you came out with the 5,000 liter or cubic inches, or whatever the hell the number is, whatever the term is, which is, one just made, it's bigger, can use the same frame. But that Elite pack was knocked out of the park. That one, I used that in Wyoming for 6 straight days and loved it. And my only complaint was it was a 3,000 or so cubic inch or cubic liter or whatever pack at the time, so it got a little tight outside of 3 days. And then you guys came out with the bigger one this year, and so it was like, boom, perfect. Now, and you can switch them out with that frame. You can take that pack off, put the larger one on. They've also got the smallest one. So that one was really well done, and is the only thing I've got out west now. And there's all kinds of options for the meat packers, as you would say. But that one was pretty well done as well.
Yeah, it's popular. I very seldom need to pack that big. I don't get to go out west elk hunting or anything like that here anymore. But I do, however, pack out all of my deer. And, the MDC really wants you to leave the carcass in the woods now because of CWD. And so past several years, that's right where they drop, is right where they get deboned. And, I had been just throwing them in a sack and then throwing that in my backpack and then having to wash out the backpack, when I'm done. And So I'm actually developing something right now that's more for the Midwest deer hunter as a meat hauler that also doubles to haul, your lock-on stand or some of the gear that you're taking out there, and uh, be something more suited for whitetail.
Nice. Yeah, for those people that, they might be going a few miles deep, but they're not staying out there, so that they don't need extra stuff. But if they kill a deer, they got to get it out, and it'd be nice to get it out in one trip. And even if you kill a big whitetail, let's say that one right there that you can't really see in the picture, he weighed like 292 pounds when he was killed. That's a big deer. Still, I think most people should be able to get that deer out in a trip.
Yeah.
And if you got a buddy with you, no problem. But the problem is that's still a lot of meat, and it's not like you can just, sling it over your shoulder. It's got to go somewhere. And so yeah, that's a good idea. I like the idea of being able to develop something just for that whitetail person who still is going to have to haul the meat or other stuff in and out of the woods.
Yeah, and I love hog hunting, and that's nothing too. A lot of the gnarly deep woods, 10 ridges over hog hunting. You travel miles sometimes when you're chasing hogs, and you kill a nice one or several small ones, and now you're miles away from the truck, and just to be able to pack out that meat, I think it's going to be a good pack that no one's really thought of.
Nice, that's awesome. Man, I'm telling you, you got me excited. I'm glad I'm going hunting this evening. I was actually thinking about either hunting or going to a football game, and then my son was like, "You should take me hunting." So that was an easy decision at that point. But now you got us even excited. I don't know about over there in St. Louis, but we got a lot of rain last night. Not a lot. We got rain last night finally, and it's been super
Yeah, we got
dry
touch,
here. And we got some thunderstorms rolled through last night, and so I'm cautiously excited about this evening. They probably hunkered down during the rain last night, a little active this morning, and hopefully will be active this evening. And so I'm hoping that, he sees something that he decides he wants to kill. That's how I work it with the boys. I'm not telling them what they're shooting. They tell me what they want to shoot. If there's a nice doe that walks out, now, if there's a really young doe that walks out and he says he wants to kill it tonight, I might try to say, hey, just FYI, that's a really, really young doe.
That's not as big as you think it is.
Right. But typically I'll say, hey, this is your tag. I want you to, learn hunting the way you want to learn it. So if he wants to shoot, a young buck, I'll let him. If he wants to shoot a doe, I'll let him. So I'm hoping he gets the opportunity to make that decision tonight. That's the biggest hope, is that he gets to decide. So,
yep.
So when you plan on getting out this weekend, what's your plan? I mean, it's about that time.
I hope so. I won't be able to go this evening. I have both my kids tonight. My wife's out of town, and so it's just the three of us at home tonight, and it's be too much to get both of them out in the woods. But
Yep.
Yeah, I think probably tomorrow evening will be my night to get out there and really do some serious scouting for the youth season. Make sure everything kind of lined up and ready to go for the kids. And looks like this weather's getting ready to make a major change this coming week, and I think it's going to be a great youth season.
Yeah, I'm excited about it. I've got, like I said, I got the it's actually a Browning blind that I got from Kyle last year, which is one of the companies that Alps is involved with or owns or whatever, the Browning blind side. But that is sitting out, and I got it set out a couple weeks ago, and that'll be the place I take the boys youth season, because the place I'm taking my son tonight, you can't hunt with a rifle. So he won't. I mean, you could still hunt with a bow, I guess, during youth season, but during youth season, I'd like to give him as much of a possibility of killing something as possible, right? And the boomstick provides a little bit, longer touch. So that's what we'll do next weekend. So yeah, I'm excited about it, and I need to make sure I've got that rifle all set up. And I can't believe it's next weekend now. That threw me off when we said that. So I gotta get to work.
Yeah, luckily you have a little extra time to for regular gun season since they pushed that back this year.
Yeah, they did. They did do that. Well, Joe Pendergrass with Alps Outdoors, I appreciate you coming on today, man, talking some deer hunting, and good luck the rest of the season to you.
Yeah, a pleasure talking to you, and look forward to an exciting year in the woods.
All right. We'll see you, man.
All right. Bye-bye.